To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worry. I get it, the odds can stack back against the wall, but even consider it such, no, you'll stand tall. Sit and watch from the sidelines, one too many times. Wicked games we play, make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude, knowing it'll be over soon. Ever need a boost, count on me for the 1-2. Trouble don't last when the tough get going. Baby, all we do is win, so show me my opponent. Adversity, doubt, stress, could care less, cause how we handle those like an S on our chest. Super proud of how we held it down on the way up. Can't wait for our day to ball, this is a layup. Nobody ever said this would be easy, but trust when I say that you got it. I know you've been looking for a breakthrough, trying our best to make do. Every day is something new, but change gon' come, oh yes it's true. Brighter days are straight ahead. Follow me, won't be misled. Just look up, don't hang your head, and we'll get to the promised land. Somebody loves you, please don't forget such. Take your time, no need to feel rushed. We gon' shine somehow one day. Word to O'Shea, today's been a good day. Don't let one bad apple spoil the tree. The fruits of our labor seem ripe, can't you see? A little insight so they'll never dim your light. Been wrong for too long, this here feels so right. Leave your fears in the rear view, right now on a mission. Trying to stay the course on this road to redemption. Giving up seems tempting, but no need, cause I got you and you got me. A little UNITY will get us by. Through the storm and the rain, I'll be by your side. Look alive, the best has yet to come. Just some words of wisdom, plenty more. I know you've been looking for a breakthrough, trying our best to make do. Every day is something new, but change gon' come, oh yes it's true. Brighter days are straight ahead. Follow me, won't be misled. Just look up, don't hang your head, and we'll get to the promise, yeah. And it may seem like things ain't working out, but I know we gon' find a way without a doubt. Just hold on a little longer, you gon' see this through. I've been there, certain things always remain true.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? I know I've been in. Am I my 33 brother? What up, though? What up, though? Yeah, I ain't been here for a minute, man. You know, running around. Life's been lifing. Prez, what's happening, Prez? Salute to the Prez, y'all. Prez in the building. Yeah, life's been lifing, and I'm pretty sure everybody understands. Because everybody has their own episodes in life. Right. But the one thing that we have to do, man, is we have to dedicate, time to ourselves. I get it. We like most of us have families. Most of us have businesses. Most of us have jobs. Right. It's not like everybody got all this idle time in the world today. Right. But I'm telling you, you got to dedicate time to yourself. And what do I mean by dedication, right? So let me just put this up here. We'll pull a 33 brother move right now, right? So to dedicate, right? It means to devote to a particular task or purpose, to devote something to a particular subject or person, or cite as being issued or performed in someone's honor, right? Well, we all have to understand that we all fit that persona, right? We all we are a person. We are things that we should be subjecting time to, right? We can't just keep handing ourselves over to said job. We can't keep handing ourselves over to those that are in need. Right? Y'all know me, y'all been around me, or y'all heard my voice long enough. I tell y'all, check on the strong. But if you keep checking on it, if you keep checking on other people, you begin to weaken yourself because you have not dedicated the time to fulfill your cup or to fuel the very thing that makes you you. You know, like Prez, Prez ain't been around in a minute, right? But that does not make him the person that's not Tanya, what's happening? Hi, what's going on? It doesn't mean that he's not still doing what he puts on this app, right? He's still that guy that he's looking from afar because he's still doing the investment stages, right? Because when he was on air and when he was on air hard, and I share him out. Why? Because he's the investor guy, right? He's the guy that's doing the stocks and all of those things. That does not mean as a time as a full-time thing. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. When you say he had to make himself a better him, that means he had to dedicate more time to himself to strengthen what is already has been established in his situation. Because there's always going to be people knocking at your door, trying to knock down that monument or that foundation that you have built for yourself. You have to know that when you have that dedication to self, it's a whole totally different thing, because you have to understand you are important as well. You are important because without you, your time, your existence is non-existent. It's not around. It's not relevant because you're no longer there. It doesn't mean that people not going to miss you or anything like that, but you need to be present in order for people to see who you are, or what you're talking about, or where you've been, because there are people that care about you, but you got to dedicate the time for yourself to assure yourself, not to validate, but to confirm that what you're doing is important to know, not another person, but yourself. Yeah, Prez, he over Femi right now, Prez. I promise you. That's when he's talking about that earlier, throwing people around. I just call him over Femi right now. He going to toss things. That's what over Femi doing right now. But back on subject, right? When you understand that you have to make time for yourself, right? It doesn't matter when you make time for yourself. It allows you to understand how important you are to you, right? Now, we all understand that, love is essential in all of these things. But if you don't love yourself, if you don't dedicate to loving yourself, how do you expect somebody to pour that emotion, that energy, that spirit on you, right? Because you don't know what it is, because you ain't take the time to seek, search, or understand what that emotion is. Or if you don't take the time to improve yourself, add on to what you already are. You could be the ugliest person as far as spirit, but when you add on to yourself, you can remove that ugliness and make you a beautiful person. You know what I mean? Most, women wear makeup for whatever reason. Most people think they wear makeup because they want to enhance themselves. So if you are enhancing yourself outside of yourself, so dedicate that time, that same time, to say, I'm already a beautiful person. This is just for outside looks, or whatever the case may be. That's for, people wear makeup for other reasons. Men, we don't wear makeup. We might wear a hairpiece because a lot of us don't like to be bald, or, you know what I mean? Because we think we're too young to be bald and we're ashamed of ourselves. No, dedicate that time to yourself. Say, you know what? Whatever reason why I lost this hair, I overcame that because I'm still here and I'm going forward within my life. That's because you dedicate that time to understand, like, yo, the hair doesn't make me. The makeup doesn't make me. I make myself. And it's an inward thing. We keep worrying about what's going on outside of us, but not looking inside of us to say, how can I make myself a better representative of myself? What do I need to do to make me look better than what I already have displayed? You a fool. Yeah. Yo, listen, and I'm trying to tell people, you know what I mean? Just because people, they disappear, not disappear, they step away from what we know them to do. It doesn't mean that they're not dedicating more time to themselves. It just means that it could very well mean I'm doing this because I want to be better than I was yesterday. So you dedicate that time yourself. You lose, you might lose a couple of people here. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not shocked about that because they don't have the dedication of themselves to stop worrying about what everybody thinks about them. Because when you do that type of stuff, when you wear the makeup and when you wear the hair pieces and when you try to catch up with and meet up with the Joneses and keep up with them and all of those other things, you looking for validation. I'm looking for confirmation that I am becoming a better person. And the only way that I can do that is by dedicating my time to become a better person, right? If I want to look at stocks, I'll look at prayers. If I want to, if I want to do mukbangs, healthy eating, I'll look at Tay Eats channel and allow her to teach me how to go vegan and things like that. If I want to have an intellectual conversation to where we break it down philosophies and psychology and things like that, I look at my 33 brother because it's allowing me to touch base with every aspect on the world, on perspective, not the world's perspective, but other people's perspective, because I can now understand when he's talking about, it's not how you do it, it's why you do it. I can understand that because I dedicated myself to looking at the why aspect. Why do I want to be better? Why is it so important that I continue to work on why is it important for me to just be a better friend, a better dad, a better uncle, a better cousin, or whatever it is on this aspect? Because when you take the time to dedicate and break down to details why certain things are necessary, you can only do that by dedicating time to yourself. Because you can't just keep allowing people to give you answers, because if they give you answers, it may not be registering to you because you don't have an understanding of what they're telling you. So you got to go in there and look. Okay, well, let me look at this. Well, let me look at S&P 500. Let me go ahead and look at why a better you is a better us. Why, you have to go in there and look at these things. If you don't take the time to work on yourself, you just be running around like a chicken with his head cut off. You just going willy-nilly. You're running around. You're doing John to catch up with Peter and Jane to catch up with Paulette or whatever names you want to look at it. It's time. The time for us to work on ourselves is today. Is many of us, like I said earlier, there is many of us that have children. And I don't know if y'all paying attention, but there's a lot of kids that are not functioning in the way that they're supposed to be functioning. There's a lot of teenagers that think they're grown and doing things that most of us grown people ain't even thinking about doing. Nicole, how you doing? Welcome in. And that's the thing that we have to understand. Why are we so focused on everything else, but not ourselves, not our loved ones, not our children, not our friends, why are we so focused on that? Because we keep worried about because we don't dedicate to these people. We don't dedicate to that, right? Like my 33 brother, I'll tell you how upset I am. I'm looking for a beat. Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you, Prez. When I saw this, Nicole, I'm glad you're doing okay. When I saw that, I thought that W was an L. I was about to roast. Like, yo, what is this talking about? You know what I'm saying? But you just gotta understand, man. If we continue to work on ourselves, right? are the first thing that they see is the examples that is within their circle. Maybe a lot of us, we don't live with our children, right? Maybe that's the case, but you still have to represent yourself to where your children can see what's really going on, right? Okay, well, dad is not here, but maybe dad is not here because he's out there busting his hump to make sure that I got food or I got a roof over our head and mommy don't have to worry about that, right? But at the end of the day, we seeing kids is just, man, listen, man, I saw a what was the kid? I think it was 13 years. I might get the age wrong, but a 13-year-old kid took a gun to school and his father's like, nah, you tripping, and Pop got murdered. And I think this was in Louisiana. He got aired out. And I'm saying, what would possess a kid to do that? Why? Because these kids are so focused on what's going on outside of them, because we don't teach them that we are a focal point to ourselves. My happiness does not come from outside of me. It may be added from outside of me, but it's not because I'm outside of myself. My happiness comes because I can have peace at what I'm doing. If I'm taking care of my kid, I'm at peace. If I'm working to make sure my kids are eating, it's not as glamorous as being a rapper, quick money, because quick money ain't always good money. And those of us that know, we know that's not always the case. But at the end of the day, because they're struggling, do we understand how many times that a lot of these teenagers is feeling bullied? Like, bullying wasn't even a thing for us probably 20 years ago. That probably wasn't even a thing for us. Bullying, we don't never talk about bullying, but now it seems like a kid is being talked about because they don't got a pair of Jordans, or they don't got Balenciaga or whatever it is. We're following the wrong trends. The trends should be starting within you. But if you don't dedicate the time to say, I am worthy without the name brand, you're not going to understand that you're not going to look at yourself as worthy. You're not going to look at yourself as a person worthy to dedicate yourself to. That's what we have to do, though. We have to look inside ourselves to see, what do we continuously need to work on, right? I would be upset, right, if my children didn't say, you know what, dad was always there for me. I take pride in that because I dedicate my time. That's what it was. We didn't call it bullying. What we called it, peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? And even with that, that didn't even work back in the day, because if we was secure with ourselves, that means we had enough time to say, you know what, I don't have to go out there and pick up that joint. I don't have to go out there and cut classes. I don't got to go out there and join a group of people that don't have nothing going for themselves, because we took the time to say, you know what, self-love is important. You know, as much as your parents implored you to love yourself and, don't follow the crowds and all of that stuff, it's very tempting, because if you don't get it from home, you're going to look outside of yourself, because it's not within your presence. It's not within your home. It's not within the family or the relatives, because we know, a family can be people that you become familiar with. But your relatives, you might not like your brother because he got a different father, or you might not like your sister because she got a different mother. But at the end of the day, self-love is supposed to be dedicated from within you to yourself. We called it toughening up. That's what we call that. But that's the thing I'm trying to get everybody to understand, man. We are becoming we are role models. No matter how you look at it. If you are a parent, you are a role model. It doesn't mean that you don't have to be tough on your kids. It doesn't mean that you should make your kids friends. It doesn't mean, what it means is that you have to set the table. If you are a parent, you brought the table to your children. Now it's time for you to set the table for them, because they don't know how to set it. You got to be an example. This is how you do it. It's just like when you were smaller and your parent or your mother or your grandmother, They taught you how to fold your clothes. They taught you how to wash your clothes. They showed you and you followed that lead. Now it's up to us to do the same thing. That's what life is about. You keep giving back. You give. But if you keep giving and not dedicating time to yourself, what are you showing these people? You're showing these people that improvement is not necessary. You're showing that, if we continue to follow the crowd, we could blend in and get through this. Nah, I don't want to blend in. I'm going to be different. I'm going to be different because I'm going to stand outside of a whole bunch of different people. It's a reason why I don't have 50,000 subscribers and things like that, because I speak things that is totally against the grain. But as long as I apply it to myself and be the example, I could say I've done this myself. My experience with it is being proven by my conversations, by my my comments. If I leave comments in other people's videos and lives or shorts or whatever the case may be, as long as I'm being consistent, I have to continue to be that way, and I have to dedicate time to continuously be that way, because idle mind is the devil's playground. Idle time is the devil's playground, meaning that thing, if you just sitting there doing nothing with yourself, you'll stagnate yourself. We already know stagnation kills momentum. And when stagnation kills momentum, it stops you right from becoming that person that you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? That's why when my 33 brother says a better you is a better us, it connects, it resonates with me. Because if I want things to be better, I gotta be better. And the only way you could be better is by dedicating time to yourself. And then as we go forward, people are going to dedicate things to you because you dedicated things to yourself. In other words, they're going to add something in your victory of dedicating time to yourself. They're going to add things to you because you have shown a manner of peace to where, nothing seems to bother this person. And it's not that, people are not going to talk about you, because we already know a hater's going to hate. Opposites are going to attract. So people are going to come through and look at you and say, well, we're going to wait for that person's downfall because he's front or she's front or she's make believing, or, we just want to wait for them to act up. If I'm not known for using profanity, but, there's people waiting for me to use profanity. Like, look at that mother curse. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. These people have more time to look for the smaller things for you to mess up, instead of add to themselves and say, I don't care if that man cusses. I don't care if that man is going through what he's going through. I'm more worried about me being a better person for myself. And then when I come and speak and put myself out there, I can be shown that, he's very well kept. He's very well mannered. He gives back to the community because he's dedicating these things. He understands. It has to be something within him to say, you know what? It's important to go out there and hand out these pantry items because there's a bunch of people that need it. You know what I mean? So you have to understand, if you don't go about it that way, you're not helping yourself, because you're not dedicating nothing to show that there is a better you for us to become better with. If I don't continue to work on myself, me talking like this, it don't mean a hill of beans. People think I'm faking it. You know what I mean? You got to devote the time to this situation. You got to say, you know what? This matters. And I know people might think devotion means another thing. The 70 song, True Devotion and all that. They might think it's a love of outsideness. No, it's about just giving or making the effort to put a majority of yourself or majority of your time into something that you feel is valuable. And guess what? I'm telling y'all, you are valuable. So if you don't devote that time to yourself, the dedication ain't gonna mean a hill of beans, because the devotion of self is even missing in that. So those two have to coexist. Those two have to tie the knot, so to speak. You can't. You know what it is? It's not that you have to be unfiltered. It doesn't resonate with people because people think that you feel like you are better than, or you don't know, you too good for a person. You're too heavily bounded type of situation. Listen, I don't know where I'm going after this. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I know one thing is for certain and two things are for sure. Can't nobody put me in a heaven or a hell. So my dedication to be the best version of myself is just because that's what I know that I need to be. I can't just keep sitting on what happened yesterday. I need to continue to go forward. What can I build on today? What can I build on, for tomorrow? Okay, I did all of this already. Now, how can I add this to a conversation tomorrow? And how can I make this thing make sense for somebody else? And of course, like I said, I'm not going to get those 6,000 views and all of these things. I'm not going to get those 25, 30,000 because this is not entertainment. I'm not here to entertain anybody. I have a channel that's doing okay, in my opinion. Sports Chat with Mr. 33, cheap plug-in. But what I'm saying is we can have those entertainment conversations, whether it's about sports, wrestling, boxing, basketball, whatever it is. We can have that conversation and say, well, nobody's dedicating their time to put a encouraging word out there. I can't do that no more because I'm the guy that's doing it, right? And whether it's catching on with everybody, I don't know, right? Does it mean anything if somebody subscribes after that? It's a blessing, but I want the message to get out, not just because I'm saying it, because it just makes sense for you, because it's right for you, not because I'm right, but it's right. And when it's right, I don't have to take credit for that. When people feel that you're better than them, it's a projection of a reminder of where they fall short. And that's what I'm saying. People feel like they're being attacked for their shortcomings instead of saying, you know what? I need help. I talk to Word all the time, like, yo, Word, what do you think we should do with this, and this? I'm asking for help because I want to become a better person. Does that mean I'm dedicating to myself for improvement? If that's what y'all want to call it, I'm it. I'm it. What I'm saying is, if in order for me to become a better person, I cannot have all the answers. I cannot answer my own questions. Some people might say that's insanity, right? I'm saying everybody here can add something to me. And that's why I do this. I can say, hey, Nicole, what you think about this? Hey, Nikki, what you think about this? Yo, Prez, what you thought about that? What you thought about WrestleMania? How should I approach that conversation? Hey, Word, how you think we should do, we should collaborate and do this so people can understand where we're both is coming from, the similarities in our conversation to where we can reach the people that need to be reached. I can't improve by myself. That would mean I have all the answers. And guess what? I don't. But if you have dedication to self, you can seek the answers all over the place. You can seek it from a Tay Eats How to Eat. You can seek it from a Prez or How to Invest. You can seek it from a Word to understand why is it important to break things down. You can learn from Nicole. Sometimes you just got to focus on yourself, Nikki rather. You can focus on yourself and see that if you continue to work on you, it's a better avenue. It's been many of people that done that. Shout out to Logical Thinker, my favorite logical thinker is actually more perspective. When she sits there and says, you know what, love thy neighbor, you can love, and I truly know that's what she do. But now she's in a state like, yo, I don't know what to do because I can't keep pouring out to these individuals. And that's what I'm saying. It's okay to be overwhelmed, but now you got to step back and dedicate that time for you to prepare yourself so you don't become overwhelmed. It doesn't mean that you don't care about that situation you're going through over there. It just means that you can't wear yourself out because you're no longer available for that person that would need your help because you overwhelmed with yourself. And that's what I'm saying. You got to dedicate you got to dedicate time to yourself. This is the year of selfishness. You're supposed to be selfish in order to gain the perspective or gain understanding or gain the strength that you need to gain in order to go out there and be the person that you want to be. We miss Prez. Prez wasn't out here for a while, but now that he's back, we're understanding what he's talking about because he took more time. SBK, what's happening to you? What's going on? He's taking the time to say, you know what? Maybe my delivery wasn't the best delivery. Maybe the way I was explaining it was too technical. Let me simplify it to why investing is so important and how it will add value to yourself. You know what I mean? So when you go about that, like even SBK be having conversations, you know, about relationships and you know, the male perspective and you know, his partner, they be having conversations about men and women coming together, how men and women should work through their situations, because they understand if my perspective for the man and her perspective from the woman, if we come together and show how it can work, even if we're just talking about everyday situations, a better relationship could be formed. But in order for those things to develop, you have to dedicate time to understand their perspective. You got to understand where they're coming from. You got to understand why is it important. This is the why. Shout out to my 33 brother again. This is why it's important to understand the why perspective. But if you don't understand why it's important to pour into yourself or dedicate time to yourself, you just here to entertain people. And like I said, I'm not one of those people that do that. So, I mean, I can, like I said, we got a sports chat. We got a sports channel for that. We can talk about sports and entertain. You know, we think LeBron is trash. We think Jordan is better. We think LeBron is better. We could have that conversation all day long, right? Yet at the end of the day, if you're not pouring into yourself, you just here wasting time. You just living. You not, and that's not a good thing, because the more you dedicate time to yourself, the better results it's going to be for you. You're going to be more lively and than just living an everyday thing. It's okay, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's okay, because sometimes you can outgrow people. But when you have dedication to self, your observation levels will go up, because like, I don't like how that person's moving. I don't like the fact that, you know, I'm going up and they staying on that straight line. Everybody can't grow with you. And when you have dedication to self, you understand that people don't want to elevate. People will rather be where they are and say, you know what, I like where I'm at. That's why a lot of us settle for where we at. And a lot of times we settle for less because we want to be thinking we're better than people. But when you know there's room for growth, this is why I tell people, as long as you're grown, you can't grow. Because can't nobody tell you nothing. Can't nobody add to you. You're not going to allow them to take away from you, because you are stuck where you at because I'm grown. That means I have no more room for growth. But in order to be dedicated to you, dedicate time to yourself, elevation must occur. Elevation will exist. You got to be there standing on that foundation that elevation is a necessity. It's not a want, it's a need. Going back to that conversation, but as long as we keep turning wants into needs, the things that we need is going to be pushed to the side. We're not dedicating ourselves to that. We're dedicating to what we want, because we feel that somebody needs to validate the things that we want. But if we know that we need it, it doesn't care who validated. It confirms when you get it that it's where it's supposed to be. It's where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be there because you know you need to be there. If I need to go to the doctor because something is wrong with me, I'm going to get there. Well, if I need to elevate myself, I need to go ahead and be around people that's smarter than me. I cannot be the smartest person in the room and say these people that are not as smart as me is going to help me elevate. All it's going to do is keep me stagnated, because they can't add to me because they're not as smart as me. You understand? That's the thing. You got to understand everybody can't grow with you. And guess what? There may be somebody looking down at you like, yo, you may not be able to grow. But guess what? I know I can. It doesn't matter what they think. And then when I rise to that level, I'm going to be the occasion that they rise to. Like, I never thought you would sit there and pick up what I was putting down. I can do it. It's your fault that you doubted me. You doubt what you don't know. But if you know, you can't doubt that. If it's a fact, you can't say it's a truth, it's the truth, because the fact of the matter is everything is out there for you to see it. But if you don't have dedication to break things down for yourself, you will never know. Stop allowing people to tell you what's best for you. You should know what's best for you. But as long as you're not dedicating the time to yourself, you just gonna be, hey, I'm in the crowd. No, sometimes you gotta be a leader. And guess what? A lot of us is already leaders. If we don't understand that, look at your child. Look at your family. There's elders going by us every day. We losing elders all the time. Guess who has to lead that family sooner or later? The person that don't feel like they need to grow. Guess what's gonna happen? Ain't gonna be no love in that family. Ain't no, it is what it is. I don't live by it is what it is. It's not for me, it's for them. There go my favorite logical thinker. What up, though? You know, that's what I'm talking about. You can't just keep worrying about things outside of you. If you don't have that understanding of dedicating time to yourself, you're just going to be in the crowd. No, we are all leaders. Like I said, she just jumped in here. You know how much, if you don't know, if y'all go listen to her, y'all go see what she does. More perspective, my logical thinker. Y'all go see what she do. And the first thing she's going to say is, you know what? That son of mine. She makes him a priority, and at the same time, she knows that she's the example. So she has to dedicate herself to be the example that she needs to be for her child. Okay, I don't play soccer, but hey, I'm out here with my son, just giving him the moral support that he needs. Why? Because she took the time to understand what I missed from my parents, I can give to my child. The greatest love that I can give is to give that child the support that I am no longer receiving, or maybe I never even got in the first place. I don't know her business, but I do know this. I know when she's out, if she's outside, 9 times out of 10, she's either outside getting something or she's doing something for that household, right? And that's just the thing. When you have the understanding that dedication of self is important to your child, to your family, to your wife, to your husband, to your children. You make that thing first. That means you have to give that time to yourself to say, you know what? I may not gain something out of it, but it's going to make that person that I'm working for or working towards or working with a better person. Y'all don't really understand how much I love my 33 brother, right? Because I was speaking like this, but he took the time to say, you know what? Look at it from this perspective. Let me show you why it's okay to look at it from this perspective. And now I got a different vision, a different sight of how to view things, because someone took the time to say, you know what? I see where you're going with this, but now you got to add this to it. So that way you got to dedicate to looking at it from this perspective. And when you look at it from a different perspective, that's when it's like, yo, I never looked at it before. And it's not because he was right, but the perspective that he gave was right. So now that's going to say, you know what? I'm willing. I open up my hands to you. Continue to explain this way better. If Prez was to sit here and say, you know what? The way that I got people, the way that I did this is I put $50 in, and now a year later, I got over $250, 250% on what I first invested. And if I follow him, it's because, hey, if if he did it, I can do it. Now let me understand. Now you can pick apart what he did and try to add something to yourself. If it works for you, it works for you. But the general steps that he took is the way basis of how you go ahead and do that. But you gotta have that time to dedicate to yourself and say, you know what, let me sit back and just listen to him. Because iron does sharpen iron. And if you understand that we are all iron type people, we can sharpen each other up. That's why, back to my 33 brother, a better you is a better us. If I become better and somebody listening to what I'm saying and they feel it right and they add this to their life and it works for them, I'm not right. It's right. And if it's right, now I got to continue to search of why, how can I make more things make sense for those that wants to elevate. It sucks being the smartest person in the room. Listen, I've been that before. This is why I always been around people older than me, because I want the input of an elder that's been through something, right? I don't know about the military. So, hey, Mo, how did you maneuver out of that? You know, like, what gave you, okay, well, she was, I did this because this, and this. And now, it made me better, but yet I still have room to grow, right? That's because guess what? Now that if most of us got children and most of us got sons, we know that this draft thing is getting ready to come up. They're getting up there. 18, you got to automatically sign up. You got to put your name on the list. And God forbid, the way this world is going, the way that this president is running around, our kids will be out there. Right? But I know my logical thinking is like, well, I'm preparing my son for that anyway, just because I have the experience to understand what it's like to be out there looking around, keeping your head on a swivel when so much things are happening. She has that experience to teach that to her son. And she's gonna dedicate that time, because it's very well possible, knock on wood, that hey, you've been enlisted. Oh, hell no. But it happens. But the point is the dedication of understanding what she went through. Now she can transfer that onto her son, right? It doesn't mean that she's trying to be a father to her son, but the experience she has, now you got to put that into a male perspective. Maybe I know a male comrade that understands what we went through, so maybe I allow him to speak to that. That's dedication itself, because I may not be a man, but I know a man that can tell my son what that situation would be like, right? And that's all it is. It doesn't mean that you got to pour yourself out to everything. It just means that you got to keep enough time for yourself to make yourself a priority. That's what I mean by dedicating to self. Make yourself a priority, and then who knows? Because you put yourself so much, just because you was dedicated to yourself so much, somebody may shout you out down the line. Like, shout out to the Word, shout out to Prez, shout out to Nikki, shout out to Tanja, shout out to Mo Perspective, shout out to the 9%, shout out to anybody that's out here doing what they need to do, or they feel that they need to do. Because at the end of the day, they understood, in order for people to understand what I'm trying to put down, I have to dedicate myself to make it as plain as day, or have somebody around me that's going to simplify it, even if I don't want to go down there and reach you and pull you out from the gutter. I'm one of the people that say, you know what, I'm strong enough to go into the gutter and come out of there, right? Everybody else might say, I ain't doing that, because they don't want that. I've been one of those people that's been told you need to stop doing that. But I'm just so dedicated to myself that I don't feel like something's gonna keep me down. They could put a ball on my ankle and try to keep me down, put rocks in my shoes. I'm gonna get up out of there. Why? Because my dedication to self says I know how to get up over that. I know how to rise above those type of situations. And 9 times out of 10, I won't be in that situation unless I truly care about that individual that I'm going down there to get. And maybe I might be too vulnerable I might make myself too vulnerable and get shot up at, because everybody does, you know what I mean? Shot up, what I mean by shot up, you know, we put ourselves in situations because we thought we was in love with a person, or we thought that person was family like that, and valley to try to put them up on top of the hill. And some of us got stuck because they took it. Now that takes a lot of strength for us to pull ourselves up out of there, to rebuild ourselves. I'm telling you, now that you put the dedication to yourself, you had that experience. Now you can see better if somebody's trying to pull your leg or not, because you dedicated that time to self to say, I'm not going to let that happen to me again in my life ever. This is why I say adversity makes you more diverse. Because if somebody left you down there to die and you pulled yourself up to live, you know that fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you know what it is. And that's the thing that I need everybody to think about going forward. Dedicate the time to yourself to make yourself a better person. Yes, we have been hurt. Okay, I get that. Yes, we have been left alone. Yes, we've been through all of these things. But at the same time, we can get up out of those situations that we were once in, because we have learned our lesson. Somebody told me that you gain more from myself, right? It's the losses that keep you up at night. And what does that mean? It means as long as something happened to you that did not allow you to become a victor, you're gonna say, why did I not overcome that? Why did I not gain the victory over that situation? How can I make sure that's not going to happen? Why did I allow myself not to pull myself up when people try to put me down? If everybody was hurting from the person that you loved and they left you, nobody would be in love again. But you understand, you got to pick yourself up and say, you know what? I learned my lesson from that, because you're dedicating to yourself how not to put yourself in that position again. This is what we need to do going forward. This is what we need to be better people. And who knows, maybe one day, well, I'm going to say I know, because somebody's going to be sick. There's going to be a bunch of people that's sick and tired of being sick and tired. We can turn this neighborhood that we have right now into a community to where we can all have the conversation, all sit at the table. We can all put a leg at the table. We can all add food to the table. We can all add chairs to the table, and we get to enjoy ourselves one step at a time, one day at a time. But it's not on me. It's on all of us to decide to dedicate ourselves so we can get to that table, so we can add more tables. We could be the Justice League, have 150 people around the table just to make sure it's just us. And we can overcome anything that's being thrown at us, because we all have the same common goal. And that is to have the time to build ourselves up to where we can become one. But shout out to everybody that came through. My 33 brother, that's my guy. I ain't forgetting that. Now, I'm going to say this before I get up out of here, and I'm going to play this song before I get up out of here. Now, the Saturday that just passed was my 33 brother's birthday. Now, I don't know if the internet didn't want me to come through and play this thing or anything to that perspective, but I don't even think I have it on here. Do I? I don't think so. Yes, I do. But I was supposed to did this that day. He wasn't feeling well, so he couldn't even come up here and do the thing that he do. But before I leave here, I am going to wish my 33 brother a happy belated birthday from Saturday. That's him right there. Y'all see the name. Y'all check him out. Like I said, a very intelligent brother. A brother who has compassion, even though he can be King Petty at times, but his heart is always in the right place. As long as you don't stomp it, as long as you don't try to mix some nonsense into it. But all of these people are like that. Mo Perspective, Nikki and Tanja and Prez, and even those that ain't here, Tay Eats, Commander, BDB, things like you can find these in people, but you got to have it within yourself. You got to find that within yourself to say, yo, this person has a kind heart. This person has that manner to where I can have the conversation with them. Right? You can have a conversation with anybody, but is the conversation going to make sense for those that are listening to it? Now, if you like mess, y'all find the people that like mess. I want people to be blessed. I want people to be the best version of themselves. So, like I said, shout out to everybody here, my 33 brother, my favorite logical thinker, the president of the investment club. That's Mr. Prez himself. Like I said, Nikki SBK, I appreciate you stopping by. Like I said, Nicole and Tanja, I appreciate y'all. Hopefully, like I said, this will allow you to understand who I am, what my ideas is. It's not about my ideas, it's about the ideas being right, and it can add to you and help you to develop into the best versions of yourselves. So with that being said, y'all, like I said, I appreciate y'all coming through, but I'm gonna let this song play out, and I don't care. He sitting there like he played too much. I don't care. You got to live with that. Big brother said happy birthday, daggone it, and that's exactly how we're gonna end this show. Happy birthday to my guy. And with that being said, y'all, I will be back soon, very soon. But if you don't catch me, check out Sports Chat with Mr. 33. He's on at least 3 times. He'll be on Mondays and Fridays and Sundays covering the NBA playoffs and things like that. We'll be over there a lot. So if y'all want to hear from us, we on that side as well. But on this side, I'll be back soon. I'm out.